Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. If you're new tonight, welcome. We want to get a chance to get to know you a little bit later. For now, everybody starts out muted, so that's normal. And we have a new chat feature, so we're going to see how we can have some fun with this. Already we're having some fun. I see Eileen Longgang loves the Bieber song. She says, thank you for that song. So thanks for that, Eileen, and a lot of thumbs up to the new chat feature. So that's pretty exciting. I'm glad we were able to get this up and rolling. So we'll have some fun with that later. So first, let's go over to the ladies and see what they've got for us this week. Kristen and Becky. Let me find Becky. Hey, Kristen. And here's Becky. Let me get you on Spotlight. Hi, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
What do you ladies have for us this week?
Just a recap on the Run for Recovery again. It was great. We had a great time. I got a ton of pictures from you guys. So I put together a slideshow and I finished it this morning, but I forgot to send it to the rebuild crew. So you guys are all going to have to hang on till next week so you can watch it next week. But it's kind of fun. The pictures you sent were so great. So thank you so much. And we have another one scheduled for May, I think it's May 8th, 2022. So you guys can start training now for it, even if it's just training walking. We definitely do have one scheduled for down in Auburn, at one of the parks down in Auburn. More info will come early 2022. And we ordered the medals. So the medals will be coming in November sometime. And the shirts will be in at the same time. So we'll put those together and mail them out to you guys. And I think that's it. Just thank you so much for your participation. It was really fun. The pictures are so great. I can't wait for next week.
So somewhere around Thanksgiving-ish, you'll get your medal and your shirt if you ordered those. So yes. Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. And that is Mother's Day weekend. We started that tradition a couple years ago with our first annual Run for Recovery. And then, of course, due to COVID, things got a little weird with the Run for Recovery. And, we certainly fingers crossed that by May of 2022, we'd be able to have a live event. And so that is set for Mother's Day weekend. So that's Saturday. So thanks, Kristen. How about you, Becky? Do you have anything for us this week?
Yeah, a little bit. I just wanted to thank all of the Battlefield supporters out there, everybody that participated in the Run for Recovery or donated, all the monthly partners. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to keep I know this is virtual, but we also have actual real doors we're trying to keep open. And Kristen and I were actually there today at the office building where if you're new, you haven't been there, but that's where we have our meetings. So fun. We're just really excited to hopefully get back soon to in person, but thank you for helping us keep those doors open. And also I just wanted to remind people about Mom's Coffee group tomorrow. And it's at 11. If you haven't joined us, it's really awesome. There's a lot of moms, some that have been with Battlefield for a long time, others that are newer. There's a lot of great perspectives and a lot of great discussion. And if you want to join us and discuss the topic from tonight, or if you've got something going on with your addict or just in your family or whatever, hop on at 11 tomorrow on Zoom, and you can get the link from Kristen or Angie.
Yes, join us. And if you're new out there, you are more than welcome to come. It's a great opportunity if you're new to get to know some of the ladies who will take good care of you. So definitely.
And you don't even have to be a lady. You can just join us.
Okay, well, we haven't had a non-lady yet, but hey, if you want to join us, we'll accept all.
We don't discriminate.
We don't discriminate. You're right. You're right. Join us.
You don't have to be a mom.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies. Thanks so much. Okay, let's go over to the basement crew and find our Kyle for some Kyle's corny comedy. Maybe I should have had Kristen introduce Kyle because she did such a fantastic job last week. She did way better. But let's go over to the basement crew. Kyle, are we ready for some comedy?
Yep.
Kyle from Rebuild Recovery. Go ahead. Take it away, Kyle.
Okay. Last week, a wizard asked me to proofread some of his scrolls. It was all spell check. This one, this joke is for Stamp. Dogs can't run an MRI. Dogs can't run an MRI machine, but a cats can. But cats can. Today is October 12th. A couple days ago, I called Shelly and I said, Shelly, are you today's date? Because you're 10 out of 10. 10. Do you know that if you turn a canoe over upside down, you can wear it as a hat? Because capsized. Capsized.
It really feels like he's making all these up.
I wish.
Yeah.
What do you call a pile of cats? A meowton.
Yeah.
Just found out I was colorblind. News came out of the purple. News came out of the purple. The news came out of the blue. If I had some intelligent audience, maybe. Yeah, okay, last joke. Been on a great roll with my wonderful women jokes, and I'm gonna keep it going. Courtney was driving down the road the other day, and as she was driving, she came up to Katie in the other lane in a boat, trying to row her way up the street. So Courtney pulls over. She's really upset. She gets out and she goes, Katie, you're the reason why people think women are so stupid. And if I knew how to swim, I'd come over there and drown you.
I can't follow it.
I don't get it.
Rowing a boat on the road.
Okay.
Okay. Courtney says, if I knew how to
Okay.
swim
Okay. She
on
doesn't
the
need to know how
road,
to swim. She could just walk, right? Is that the joke?
that's a joke.
Okay, I get it.
You don't swim on the road.
Yeah.
You don't row a boat on the road either.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
it's,
point.
but it's Katie, you know, her driving.
Yeah.
You
Might
said
as well be
Courtney
right.
though.
Yeah.
I said two people.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And can I just acknowledge, I just want to just take a moment too to acknowledge, last week was so incredible. So I just want to put a big thank you out there to our board and Team Battlefield and Kyle Munkers, who took over Solution Group last week. And it was absolutely fantastic. And so thank you, Kyle, for your awesome message last week. Thank you to Team Battlefield for just taking it on. Art and I watched the entire Solution Group on the plane ride home, and it was just really awesome. So thanks, guys, so much. It was really good work. So thank you. If you weren't here last week and know what I'm talking about, you can get the recording on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel on the YouTube channel Battlefield Addiction, and you can find a playlist of ours that's called Solution Groups via Zoom. If you're not tech savvy and you don't know what I'm talking about or how to find that, you can send me or Kristen a message anytime and get that playlist, so it's easy for you to find. But if you missed last week, you definitely want to hear Kyle's message. It is recorded and uploaded, and that goes for all Solution Groups. You can always access the recordings. So, but excellent job. So. Now, I'm happy that Art's back, and are we ready to roll?
Move that mic a little bit. The big boom mic.
I thought we were out of sound. All right, we're ready to roll. We've got Art's back in the seat.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, how's it sound? Good?
Great. Yep.
Well, I want to say, I watched Kyle's Solution Group, and it wasn't exactly what he said that was important to me. It was how he did it. And I watch a lot of speakers. I've watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of people speaking, and especially on the topic of addiction. And it's very rare that someone can do a talk and not bring in their own self-importance, not make it a story about how cool they are. And the way Kyle did it, there was no Kyle in it. It was put and said in a way where he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about us as people and what it's like to be a human, and then what it's like to go through what you guys are going through or what everyone goes through. And he did some other things really good. He was inclusive and he listened and he kept command of the group, and he kept my attention for the entire time. Now I got to also say that I've never watched a solution group. Not
That's
one of my,
true. Not once.
I can't, and it's like nails on a chalkboard for me to even watch myself. But I really thoroughly enjoyed it to the point where I was waiting for more, and I wanted to know what Kyle had to teach me next. And it was not all of what he said, because I knew a lot of what he said. I'd learned it myself, and we did it together. But it was how he said it, and so that's why it was really, really excellent. I can't wait for the next Kyle takeover. So, anyways, when I was growing up, my father always said that all you have is your word. And he used to say it to me, but when he would say it to me, it was always like, yeah, later, Dad. Later. I'll have my word when I need it, later when I'm a man. And, it never, ever, as a youngster in my life, did it dawn on me that I had to keep my word. It didn't. I was playing poker about 5 years ago in Pendleton, Oregon, and there was a gentleman that played poker, and he was an older gentleman, and everyone in the poker community knew who he was. And if you say his name in Washington State, anyone still knows who he is. And his name was, I don't even know his real name, his legal name, but his nickname was the Commander. And he was this big in stature guy, and he played sometimes with a big hat, and he was always at the table. And I was sitting waiting for a game one day in Pendleton, Oregon, and he was talking to another man, and they were talking together. And as they were speaking together, he said to the other man, I watched this guy play last night, and he was talking about a guy playing. And he said, and the guy lost like $5,000, and you should have seen the way he handled himself. He said, you should have seen he didn't throw his cards once. He didn't complain. He didn't bitch about the dealer. He handled every loss. He smiled. And back then, 5 years ago, for me, all that was going through my head is, well, it sounds like he's a good loser, and a good loser is just a loser. It wasn't to me. It wasn't even I was like, why are they talking about that? That's ridiculous, and it never really dawned on me my entire life either to learn to lose good or to have any kind of, so I never really thought that through. I had a session the other day playing poker where I lost I took a very thorough beating, and I'm pretty proud of myself because I was very nice. And after 11 years of recovery and practicing my recovery program, I've actually learned to be nice when I'm taking my beating, and not punish other people. And I was very nice to the people, and that was what I was most proud of. And I'm almost more proud of that than when I have a winning session and not nice or whatever it is. But anyways, I don't always say this, but I think tonight is what I have to say is very, very important. As human beings, we all want to be what's called validated. As human beings, we're all wanting to be validated. We all want validation. Now, first of all, when I say we all want validation, I don't know if that generally if people even realize that they want validation. We've turned validation into this negative thing. We say somebody kind of derogatory. We say somebody's seeking they're just seeking validation. And we don't talk about as a society that that's what we're doing every single day of our life. That what we are doing in our life, absolutely 100% of the time, is seeking validation. That's what we want. That's what builds our self-esteem. That's what builds our confidence. That's what builds who we are. We are validation missiles, and we are seeking it. We are seeking to be important. We are seeking to be validated. We want people to say you're good. We want people to say, great job. We want people to say you're important. We want people to say you matter. And there's nothing wrong with that. 100% nothing wrong with that. So if we could first start and just admit it, man, every day of my life, I want to be validated. So now we go back and we look at what's kind of happened, So we don't admit that we want to be validated, but then you start out as a kid, and everybody in this room started out, and you probably didn't even really understand this until maybe about late junior high or high school. And at some point you wanted to fit in and you wanted to be cool. and then all of a sudden it started when you wanted to fit it in cool. And if I go back and I try to remember my high school experience, there was only a handful of ways that you could be cool. One of the ways that you could be cool is you could throw touchdown passes. Another way that you could be cool is you could be a big partier and throw the biggest party. Another way is you could be popular. Everyone could like you. You could be good looking. That's another way. You could be funny sometimes. Maybe that would be one way if you were the big comedian. And then you can do outrageous shit. If you did outrageous shit, everyone talked about you. If you drank too much and puked and peed yourself, and maybe you took a dump on the teacher's desk, or whatever crazy shit someone came up with. But does anyone here remember in high school that somebody said, "Hey, I know Stefan, he keeps his word. He's a man of his word"? No. There is not a time that any one of us even thought that was important. In fact, if you did say that you were a person of your word, nobody would give a shit. Nobody cared. Did you ever hear in high school somebody say, "Hey, there's my friend Logan. He has my back. He's always there for me"? Did you ever say, "Hey, there's Mike. He gets straight A's. He's better than us"? In fact, if Mike got straight A's, what do we say? What a nerd. What a loser. All he does is study. We actually tore down people that got good grades in high school. We tore them down. We tore them to pieces. Oh, there's Bobby. You ever see him play the tuba? He's amazing at the tuba. No, there's that little dweeb Bobby playing a stupid tuba again. But then we all stand up and we cheer on the guy that got drunk and got so drunk and hit on a woman and slobbered all over her and fell down. And as a woman, I imagine in high school, it must be even tougher, because how do they get known to be validated as a woman in high school? But to be pretty? Is that it? Is there any other way that we validated women in high school? Yeah. Any other way? If they weren't pretty, did they get any acknowledgement? No. Now you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if they slept around with anybody, they got acknowledgement. And so what happens is, and what's happened is that we haven't learned as people, one, that we want to be validated, and two, what to be validated for. So if we get to a place, and I've had a realization here with this program, and it's really, honestly, a sad realization, because it lends to the fact of how much work we're going to have to do to change the current culture, how much work we have to do to actually look. And one thing that I've noticed, and I've noticed it very, very acutely here, is that peer validation in this organization, peer validation is not something that people are entirely looking for, whether that's in high school, whether that's at a job, whether that's here. And what I mean by that is everybody is looking for validation upwards. They want validation from their boss. They want validation from authority. And this is kind of the result of entitlement. So when people say we have an entitlement issue, what exactly does that mean? Well, we have a bunch of people that don't want to do the work to actually win over the respect of their peers. Because to actually be validated by the people that are on your level, the people that are next to you, the work of doing that is massively difficult. To be validated by your peers truly, and to get that kind of validation, what you have to do is you have to do the right thing every day. And nobody ever talks about doing the right thing every day. Nobody ever talks about, "Hey, man, you're doing great. You've kept your word 10 times in a row. Hey, man, you're doing great. Your room is clean. Hey, man, you're doing great. You never let us down on your chore. Hey, man, you're doing great. You didn't go try to sleep with that girl that wanted to sleep with you. You actually thought maybe that her respect for you was more important than getting a piece of tail. And so what you did was you refrained because you wanted to be respected by women, not sleep with every single one of them. And we recommend that highly, and we think that's good. And so as we go on, you see that that this is the most difficult problem that we have, and not just here in our community, but everywhere. America is now become a victim. America is a victim. We as a culture, we as a society are a victim. Everyone in America is a victim. We're either a victim to the Democrats, we're a victim to Republicans, we're a victim to racism, we're a victim to words, we're a victim as a culture. And now the difference is that people have now thought that they could get the same thing that they get from validation by doing the right thing. What they're now going after is what's called separation. So when people don't feel validated and they don't know how to validate properly, what they do is they try to feel the same way with another tactic. And so one tactic to get validated short term, really quickly, one tactic is called being a victim. So what happens is people then begin to complain. So they begin to complain and they begin to point out. So now, as people aren't being able to be validated by their peers, and they aren't being validated by leadership, and they aren't being validated by their boss, and etc., the rackets begin. And what a racket is a complaint. And what the racket is whatever it is that you're complaining about. And why it's called a racket is because the complaint isn't to be solved. It isn't something that we want to solve as a person. It's a racket because the complaint is a front for pointing out the separation between you and that other person. So what we are doing when we are complaining as America is not doing the work to be properly validated by doing the right thing, but yet what we're doing is trying to get a quick fix and get validated by complaining, by creating separation, by saying they're bad and I'm good, look at me. And this is what is developed. And this is how the victim mentality has developed. And we have gotten to this place now where in order for us to change as a society, in order for us to change as a community here, we have to start talking about what is actually good. What do we consider good? I look at Brian here. He's a 16-year-old kid. Is it more important for him to do good things, or is it more important for him to be cool? I mean, what would it mean to Brian if you weren't cool? What would it mean to get straight A's and have everyone call him a geek or a nerd? What does it mean to show up to class every day? You know how bad it is? I actually came to class late every day as a high school senior, and because I told everybody how cool I am to get away with being late. I actually did that. I remember purposely being late. Purposely looking at the other kids going, I'm so much fucking better than you. I get to walk in late to no repercussions. Look at how cool I am. I did that, and I learned that that was a way that I could get attention. We are starving for attention. We are starving for it. And our complaints become the water. And now, when we're not getting separation and we're not getting validation, we use. What that means is we use women, we use men, we use gambling, we use food, we use drugs. And when the food and the women and the gambling and the drugs stop, complaining starts. Because we need to replace that feeling. We need to feel important some way. So if I complain, I can add importance to my life. I can now become important. You look at the Democrats and the Republicans. How stupid do we have to be as a society to not see that if a good leader, there would be one thing you would have to do as a good leader. If you became a Democrat or a Republican, one thing, try to be validated by the other side. That's it. If you're doing anything else, you're a complete moron. It's never going to work. So if we don't have a Republican that's reaching across the aisle to the Democrats and saying, hey, we need to find something that's good together. We need to find something that we can acknowledge each other for. Something, one thing. You know, we're in the same country. We live in the same country. We're on the same team. But you see, you're on the same team. You're here. But we don't validate each other for anything good. It's who sleeps with the most people, who did the most wreckage when they were out there in addiction, who's having the most difficult time, who's got the most complaints, who's got the most drama. That's what we're acknowledging. I listen, and when I got sad tonight, I listened to the conversations. The conversations that we have here have to do with the glories of our past, the destruction we've done in the past, the shit we did back then, the crazy shit we done, the stupid shit we done, the jokes, the small talk, the whole, how many women we sleep with, how close we were to get diseases, how many diseases we had. But they're not, I kept my word 10 times. They're not, my bed's tight, I made my bed and I cleaned up under it. Because that ain't cool. That ain't shit to no one. So if I sit here today, I got to tell you what, how many houses I have, or can I tell you what I'm really proud of? I've done about 1,000 consultations. I was late to one, and I deeply apologize for that. I was on time for 999 consultations, no matter what was going on in my life. I've never been late to this chair at 7 o'clock. I've kept my word for 7 years. I've been on my post. I answer my phone and I call back anyone that needs help. Is that cool? Yeah. I mean, but see, that's the shit. We don't talk about that. That's what made my life. But we get validated by how much money we have, how much money we lost. And now America has been validated by being a victim. Who's the biggest victim? They're fighting over it. Every single race, every single culture, every single ethnicity, every single minority is fighting now to be the biggest victim. They're challenging each other. No, I'm a bigger victim. America has become a victim. And if we don't find a way to decide in this room, what is good? What is a good person here? What is a good thing to do? How are we going to talk to each other? And this came about because I saw it. I saw that a lot of you in this room were seeking the validation of me. And I saw a lot of people that are going to work and they're seeking the validation of the boss. And I see Brian going to school and maybe, you know, some teachers you seek the validation of, some, but some you don't. Why not all of them? We're letting high school kids determine which teachers they get to respect, which adults they get to respect. You know, just so you guys know, Brian, you're 16, just so you know, when we were kids, you respected every adult. It wasn't even a question of which one you got to respect. Now, somehow with the entitlement, you guys have figured out a way to only respect some people. And then by what I mean by that is you can behave like shit around everyone else. And what's happened here, if you have the respect or if you have the validation of your boss, but not the validation of your coworkers, you are a fraud. That is true. And if you earn the respect of your coworkers will lead you up. But most people in America, you see the entitlement. Imagine a 24-year-old kid just got out of college, goes and joins a company. There's people been working there 24 years, 25 years, 30 years, and the 24-year-old comes out of college and he's just trying to get the respect of the boss, forget the coworkers. He doesn't care about the 24-year-old that's been doing it for 24 years because he's the new genius that's just going to go right to the top. And instead of saying, hey, I want to be validated by the coworkers here, he goes right to the boss, and that makes him an entitled fraud. And here, if you're not validated by your roommates, if
connect to your Wi-Fi network, you can find setup instructions in the help
What's that from?
in your Alexa app.
Somebody's Alexa. All right. So for me, until we decide the terms, either as a country or a company or a program, until you decide the terms of what we're going to say good job for, and how we're going to validate each other, how you guys are going to validate each other. Until we decide those terms, how could we improve in a society? We have human beings that are seeking validation every day, and they're seeking it improperly. They want to be invalidated through their crypto skills or their money or their car, or they want to be validated through how many women they sleep with, or they want to be on and on and on. And we're sitting here, my father, him and his friend, I could tell the respect they had for each other. My father and his friends had this certain respect for each other that I don't see other people really generally have. And it was a certain respect that said, if I'm in a foxhole, I'm going to be with you. And we have each other's back. And, my dad and his friends, I remember listening to him talk. My dad and his friends, they didn't give two shits what their boss thought of them. They gave a shit what the buddy working next to him thought of them. That was it. They did not care what their boss. In fact, my dad was adamant that he would never be a boss. My dad said, I'm not going to be in management. Those people are a bunch of lazy, whatever. And so they went lateral with validation. So the way to the top is lateral validation. It's looking at the person next to you and saying, I want to impress you. Not looking at the person above you and saying, I want to impress them. And saying, hey, let's impress each other. But what happens here is you guys show a side of each other that is criminal, that is kind of nasty, that's kind of not caring, that kind of too cool. I'll be late when I want to be late. I won't make my bed if I don't want to make my bed. I'll do my chore whenever the fuck I want. That kind of thing starts to develop. I'm too important. Well, I can't do chores. I work more than all of you. I make more money. I got a nicer car. So chores, I'm out. And we don't know what we're doing to each other. We don't know how we are hurting each other. Again, I want you to know, I want anyone to know their coworker that their boss thinks is great and the rest of the coworkers don't respect and don't think is great. It makes the boss a fraud and it makes the coworkers a fraud. So earning the respect of the people next to you. And what's happened is we don't see a Democratic or Republican earning the respect of someone next to them. We don't see them even making an effort, because what they're doing now, they're not waiting and doing the work that it would take to be validated as a politician. You know how much work that would take to actually be validated, to do the right thing for 10 years over a career, and to gain the trust of the other side that doesn't agree with you all the time, and to actually put your hand across the aisle. You know how much work that would take? It's much easier to just create separation by pointing and blaming and saying we're better than them. That would be like me saying, you know what I just do here at night? I just talk about how stupid the other treatment centers are. And I just tell you why mine's great. It'd be a quick way to kind of feel important and feel validated. But that's just me trying to create separation. I don't know what they're doing over there. Me and Kyle Munkers don't know and Burroughs don't know what they're doing at the other treatment center. We got our head down. We got our eyes forward. And we're trying to keep our head above water right here, helping people. We don't got time to look and go complain about what they're doing somewhere else or hear your story about what they did at the last treatment center. Who gives a shit? We got too much work to do. Now, will that result in somebody saying to us that we're great? We don't know. But we're in a foxhole together. And I know one thing about Kyle Munkers, and I know about Burroughs, and I know about Travis, and I know about Don. I know about everyone. When I need my back covered by somebody, they're going to have my back. And they've gained my respect. And this is what has to develop to switch what's going on. Do we consider it cool how many girls somebody else slept with? No. Have you ever listened to someone tell you a story about how much money they make and gave two shits ever in your life? But why do we have you ever listened to a story about somebody that sold a lot of drugs and went, wow, He's cooler than me. Have you ever listened to a story about how much money somebody lost, destruction, their complaints, any of that shit, and thought, wow, they're cool? Not once. I know you haven't. So why do we talk like this? Why are these the stories we tell? How much we stole, how much we robbed. Why is this the story? I do it too. I'm saying we. I'm saying this is why you get kind of sad, because you realize what we have to change in order to change. You realize really the work that entails. To look at each other as men and women and say, what are we going to validate each other with? We all want validation. I know you want to be important, and you want to be important, and you want to be important, and you want to matter, and you want to matter, and I want to matter, and we all want to matter. So how are we going to matter to each other? And I think it has to be discussed. And then you go back to everybody wants this self-esteem shit. My kid's got low self-esteem. No, he wants to be validated, but he doesn't know how to be validated because we were never taught. You didn't show up to 5th grade 5 minutes late for class and have to sit down and have a discussion with your teacher about not keeping your word. You were just deemed cool for being late. So we weren't taught this stuff. And that's what's happening to deteriorate the whole country. Is we, one, don't admit as a country that we all want validation. We don't admit that collectively together. And then 2, we all don't sit down and ask how to get it. And so everybody's trying to improperly be validated. And we're all screwed up over it. That's the diagnosis. People want to be validated through their complaints. And then what happens? As soon as somebody complains and becomes a victim, somebody else gets a chance to jump on as a validator too, because they want to be validated as the hero. And so here we are, a group full of heroes and victims. It's pretty simple.
You're always one or the other, right?
You're either the hero, the victim, or the perpetrator.
Persecutor.
Yeah. Persecutor, perpetrator, whatever you call it. You're the one causing the pain. And so America has become what's known as Cartman's drama triangle. Look it up. America is the drama triangle. We have the enemy, we have the victim, and we have the big, great heroes. And it's not a place of do your part and be validated by keeping your word. Do your part. Individual responsibility. Hey, nice job. You're accountable. I can count on you. Thank you. And that's where we sit. We have become the drama triangle, and America is the biggest victim out of every country there is. We claim to be the best, but we are the biggest victim.
It was the first time I ever heard about that from you.
Yeah. So here, we can start right here. How are we going to get out of these rackets? This whole racket, this front that our complaints about other people around us really mean anything other than we want to point out their deficits so that we can gain some separation. You know what it is? It's like football season right now. So what happens is when a receiver cannot outrun his defender, he cannot outrun his defender. He tries, but he's not fast enough. What he does is he pushes off. And it's called offensive pass interference. And he does it to gain separation. So a racket is offensive pass interference. It's saying, I can't outrun you all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to complain about you. And that way, I'll make you look bad to whoever it is I'm complaining to. And we as Americans haven't ever told complainers to shut up. Shut your mouth. If I hear one more goddamn complaint about your hurt feelings. I mean, seriously, your feelings are hurt? What happened to sticks and stones? We said it when we were 5. Football coaches. I ain't saying Gruden's the best thing that ever lived, but he's a football coach. President Trump said, grab him by the, and he still got to be our president. John Gruden coaches the old Oakland Raiders. And he is now canceled as a human being from our society because he said some words. Free speech, huh?
Yeah.
Give me a break. No, because every word spoken is a chance for someone in America to be a victim. And they grab it, and then the hero defends them. Drama triangle. Done deal. Deterioration. No coming back until we wake up and go, how do we get properly validated? How do we do this thing right? Well, you do the right thing. You pay your bills. You get your head down. You shut up. If you have a problem with something, you organize and do something about it. But if you have a problem and you keep running your mouth, but you don't do anything about it, you need to shut up. Because it's just making it worse. It ain't helping. Get off your Facebook and shut up. You know? So here we sit. Can this group here help each other? Can we help each other by telling the next person here, we're not a support group, you know? If somebody complains in this group, you need to shut up. And you need to be told to shut up. What'd you do about it? You didn't do nothing about it. Oh, you want to be a victim? Well, I ain't your hero because I'm healthy. I noticed I've been around families where this triangle is pretty prevalent. And one thing that causes this development of a drama triangle where people get validated through being a victim or a hero. And the thing that develops it is improper leadership. Leadership that accepts it. A good coach would never let his team blame each other. He would hold each person responsible for doing the right thing. But you get a bad team, blame, victimization, I didn't do it. That's what starts happening. So in a good family, do the right thing, do your part is the only motto. Everyone pulls their weight. And I don't care if that's a special needs child or anyone. You know, and what's happened with addiction is you get one person in addiction that the kid's acting crazy. He gets all the attention or she gets all the attention. And the other sibling who's getting straight A's, doing great, doesn't feel validated. And so what happens is that sibling starts having a lot of problems because pretty soon they learn they got to start acting out to get any attention. So now they got to start playing the victim. Because if they play the victim, somebody will finally give them attention. Sad. I don't say much is sad, but this is sad. And it's sad when you see it. And it's sad when you look at Brian and go, nobody's going to tell you good job for getting straight A's and going to class on time every day, young man. Nobody's going to tell you, have you kept your word? Nobody's going to stick up for you when you do that. And you might have to wait 10 years until you have your own house. And there all the rest of the losers are still working for, McDonald's or whatever. And you have your own house. And then they're going to ask you why. And you're going to go, because I kept my word and I showed up to class on time every day. That's why. But that takes 10 years. So it's much quicker right now if you just do something outrageous and be cool.
Right.
See how many girls you can ruin the lives of. See how many girls you can disrespect and sleep with. And then your friends will go, good job, buddy. And that's what we're teaching men, young men. That's what we're teaching. And we're teaching women that they got to be pretty or they don't even get listened to. And we think we're not going to have problems as a society. Miss, are you talking? You're not very good looking. That must suck.
Yeah.
That must suck. At least maybe we could throw some touchdown passes or, we have a way out. Yeah. And people should tell both people, hey, the beautiful cheerleader girl and the girl that's whatever, the girl that's in the band and quiet. Hey, good job. You kept your word. You showed up for your teammates. You did what you said you're going to do. You went home and studied, and you didn't just cheat. Good job. It's like everyone wants their kid to be the one throwing the touchdown pass, though. Imagine going to watch your kid sitting on the bench. You're just looking at the other fathers. He's on time every day. He hasn't played yet. Little dipshit can't catch a ball. but damn it, he's on time. You know?
Look at him fill those waters.
Yes, yeah. Look at how he fills that water, hands it to the other boy. Yeah. Those little short shorts he's wearing. Whatever. Yeah. But it's funny, but it's true. It's sad. You know. Okay. I'm gonna open it up. I think in all families, what we do is when a family sits down, and there has been some families that have done this, and we recommend it all the time. You know, you really got to get together. And if you want to connect, you're going to have to get together and connect on what you're going to validate each other first. You know, like if the Republicans wanted to sit down with the Democrats and go, what are we going to call a good job, by the way? What would the other side acknowledge if we did do this? What would you acknowledge as a good job? So at least we can try to do a good job for you. And then please, if we do a good job, would you just please acknowledge that we did do a good job? And we'll do the same for you. And that would be the start of any healing between this all. Hey, what is a good job? Let's start there. What do we all feel important together on? And that's a family too. Is it important for your family, for each person to have money? Is it important for each person to have a nice car? Is it important for them to hygiene, or is it important for them? What is important in your family? What have you stated is important that you will say good job when the other person does it? Think about that. Because if your kids don't know what's important to do right, how are they going to do right? And if you don't know what you're going to say good job as a family, how are you going to know when to say good job? I went to my nephew's football game. One game, only game I ever went to. He was the nose tackle. And I went to the game. He got in and did a sack. And after he sacked the quarterback, he got right above the quarterback's face, got in his face, and started taunting him. I left the game immediately and never went back to another football game. My sister said, why? I said, I don't know why we would teach him that shit. Why would we stand up and cheer for him after he does that asshole shit? And I never went and watched another one of his football games. I'm sure he got better. I mean, got better at. But what are we going to teach each other? What are we going to do here? Is the coolest guy at the house the guy that makes the most money? The guy that sleeps with the most women? The guy that has the most wreckage? What is the coolest guy? Okay.
Such a good topic. Okay, let's open it up. You guys know the drill. You got to raise your hand. Let me do it. Let me give you an example. If you're new, this is the raise your hand feature. It's underneath reactions on your device. If you can't figure out that, there's this new chat feature. And so you can always just say raise hand in the chat feature, and I will see it now that we have the chat. And you new people out there, we'd love to meet you as well. So who's first? Any questions, any comments on the topic, or anybody going through it out there that needs a coaching moment? That's welcome as well. Questions, comments, thoughts, anything? Who's first? I love those 3 screens. Nico has created this artwork that you guys see, all these awesome graphics and the moving background. It's pretty cool. And I love those 3 screens. I love being able to see the basement crew down there. It's fantastic. And a big thank you to Michelle Tews, who actually donated that big old couch down there. It looks so sharp down there. It was so perfect. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. Can you see that? I know she's out there somewhere. I lost her screen, but I know she's out there so she can see it. But it's awesome. So good to see y'all there in the basement crew. There's Michelle. Hey, Michelle. I can't hear you, but thank you so much for that. Do you see how sharp it looks? Look at that. Yeah, we can't hear you. You're muted, but we can see you. Thanks so much for that. Super cool. That's the best couch we've ever been given. So thank you. It's beautiful. No disrespect to anybody else who's given us a couch. We appreciate them all. Thank you. I say things like that and then I'm like, oh, crud. All right. There's nobody raising their hands yet.
Well,
Wait, we'll be patient.
yeah.
Go around and see if I can find the new people. Oh, the Dave and Pam. Very good. Thanks, you guys. I love it. We can always count on them. I was waiting for the KO Maddoxes too. Let's see. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So Chris and I had a conversation today, and it kind of revolves around your topic of being validated.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to ask him why it is that a label is so important to him, because nobody cares whether you've got a Nike pair of shoes on or a Michael Jordan pair of shoes or an Oakley pair of sunglasses or whatever label it is.
They do.
I had a roommate that did this, and it drove me nuts. She had to have, and she said it was the best of everything. She had to have Gloria Vanderbilt jeans, and she had, everything had to have a label. And I looked at her one day and I said, it doesn't mean shit. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to look at your pants and go, oh, you've got Gloria Vanderbilt jeans on. Those are really expensive. Nobody cares. So I'm trying to express that to my child who has always had a thing for labels. What is it?
Okay. Well, let me argue, Pam. You don't care. You don't care. But I would argue that is this part of this systematic thing that people do care. Yeah. That people do judge whether someone, and in their mind, if somebody's wearing a brand name thing and it's highly expensive for some reason, and I'm not telling you it's right, I'm just saying we've kind of identified in our culture that it is important.
Go in a courtroom with a $100 suit on versus $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, we do. We want our lawyer to be in a $3,000 suit. We don't want him in the Brooks Brothers couple hundred. We want him there. We want him in the suit. We want, we do. And I don't know. That's like I said, this is a re-engineering. This is why this is why shit is so messed up.
Yeah.
We have to be careful what we pick for validation, that we stay honest to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has to be it has to be okay. We need to decide, one, as a human being, we need to say, I do want to be validated, and then two, this is how I'm trying to be validated. This is what I'm up to. This is what I want to be known for. And this is what I want to be known for, my word, or I want to be known for being a guy that will be there for people. I want to be known for whatever it is, and just not try to hide
I want to be validated with having Jordan shoes.
Well, yeah, Chris wants to shoot. Yeah.
You like those shoes? Well, I was curious. Pam, I was wondering how Art was going to answer this, because something about Art is if he's wearing a pair of Nike shoes, he has to wear the Nike shirt. He can't wear the opposite. It has to be Nike. It can't be like.
Oh no! I mean, I saw a guy in the elevator. I saw a guy in the elevator in Vegas, and this guy had the audacity to be wearing Adidas shirts and a Nike shirt, and it's just that's just something wrong there.
He's playing it safe.
Yeah.
You're not sure what elevator he's going to get into, so he's playing
Yeah.
it safe.
Yeah.
No, you will never see Art in something mismatched like that. Never.
No, you won't.
He's into a style for that.
Yeah.
Will get very dirty though.
But then again, Pam, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. My ability to connect with these kids also has something to do with what I wear. Sadly enough.
It's
I
true.
mean, and that's sad. It also has something to do with the car I drive, something to do with the boat I get, something to do with the stuff I have.
Absolutely.
And that's again, but that's what comes on in the front, and that's what we show.
Right.
But what I really am trying to say here is wait, guys. What got me those things was my ability to keep my word, my showing up on time, my being there for people, my being a man that does what he says. Those are the things that really get you those things.
Yeah. It's what's in here.
Yeah.
Not your material things.
But yeah, I know, but like something's got to be shiny to get their attention. These kids. Yeah. You know.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for opening up the convo. Thank you. Hi, Stephen Birdie.
Hey. So getting back to the idea of validation, spending so many years in the classroom and having conferences with parents and such, I would love to say, as parents, we need to pump the brakes on, as Dave said, truthful validation. I don't know how many times I've seen, this kid comes in and this parent will just go off and say how amazing this child is, which I understand, but I think what happens is you give this false ideal of what this child should be doing. And if that child ultimately doesn't live up to those expectations, there can be a problem.
Well, that's exactly what I said. Now, in order for that parent to get an ideal assessment of where his kid stands, he should be asking the classmates. Mm-hmm. And that's what we should be teaching, that peer validation. When you want to know how someone's doing, ask their coworkers.
Yeah.
You want to.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And I could go into things that would be important and how to do that. But the idea of, I love what you said, Art, about, what are the expectations, or what should we validate, or what do we value? And then from there, that's beautiful. That's a really beautiful thought.
It was for something for me, and I'm looking back at my life. I was a lost kid. Steve, I got to be 13 years old. I was 4'8", about 70 pounds. It was 7th grade, and I got smashed on the football field. I mean, smashed, and almost hurt. And I was too small to be out on the football field. And lo and behold, for the first time at 13, I figured out that I wasn't going to play professional football.
Yes.
And when I figured that out, I wasn't that great of a looking kid. I wasn't fast. I wasn't an athlete. I was kind of smart, but I didn't get straight A's. I didn't play any instrument. What am I going to do?
Yeah,
and
I know.
You can see the path of that 13-year-old kid that still wants to be important.
Sure. Absolutely.
what I
See
did
it all the time.
Yeah, what I did was outrageous shit. What I did was throw the biggest parties, drink the most beer, smoke the most weed. But nobody, and my dad always said, you should keep your word, you should do this. But I never got validated if I did it. There was never any, hey, you did it, son. And there didn't get validated at school. I didn't get validated from my friends. In fact, it was the exact opposite. If you told somebody you were going to do something and then you were just too cool and didn't do it, people thought you're just cool. Well, yeah, I told him I'd do it, but I didn't do it because he's a geek or he's a, whatever it was. And that's what I learned. And I'm not a victim to that. I'm just saying, of course I went to drugs because those got me attention. It got me.
I bet you're a pretty cute little boy, though.
Oh, no, I never got girls, man. I didn't get girls. I got girls because I got to be funny sometimes. And then so I got the girls that laughed at my stuff, but and my stuff was always making fun of my friends. You know what I mean? I mean, I could, if my friend was better looking than me, I just needed about a half hour to make him look stupid. And then I could take the girl, Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You also.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Who's next out there? Where's our new people? I saw a couple new people out there. We'd love to say hi. We'd love to meet you. All you got to do is just use the raise your hand feature or unmute yourself, and I can see that as well. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
I started thinking about this validation, and when I go back in my life and think of, in some cases, the things that I picked for validation were oftentimes linked to a person. They were the person that I looked up to, and things that were associated with them. Those were the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then it hit me that maybe that person really wasn't who I should be looking up to. So now I've created this world around me for validation linked to an individual that I shouldn't be following.
That's right. And if there even is an individual that we should be following, at all whatsoever, I don't know. But that's right. You do things to impress a certain person or to impress somebody, and you're not even really into it.
To be like somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe do what a woman would like you to do or whatever.
And then you find out that that person really isn't who you thought they were.
That's right. That's right. That's good. This whole thing and just keep somebody come on, you guys ask so much better questions of Kyle. I don't know if people are scared of me or what it is, but I want to try to be more Kyle-like tonight. So please, I'll stop at any time if I see a hand. But, I just loved how Kyle took in everybody's questions. So anyways, it lends to honesty too. It lends to getting to know yourself as a human being and seeing what you're up to and seeing why you're doing what you're doing and why you're talking about what you're talking about. And kind of getting to the place, they did a group here Sunday about honesty and I wasn't involved with it. And then I kind of shredded it a little bit because I said it's lip service. I said, did anyone get honest in the group? And nobody got honest. They just talked about honesty. But nobody got really honest with what their motivations are and what they're seeking for validation and all that kind of stuff. And, there's a difference. And what I challenged them on, I said, if there was honesty in the group, then somebody would have laughed really hard or cried really hard. You would have tears. When we see honesty, there's tears that show up because it's just truth. Something shows up when honesty shows up. And a comedian, the reason you laugh is because he's being tremendously honest.
Mhm.
And the reason you cry when somebody's telling a story that's true is because it's true. And so that has to happen for there to be truth. That experience, not all the time, but if it's real and somebody finally gets truthful, it'll make you cry.
Mhm.
All right, I see a hand.
Like Dave Chappelle the other night. We laughed and cried.
Yep.
I got into a conversation today with someone about it.
Yes.
Hi, Carrie. Let's get you unmuted.
Hi there. Just
Hey.
a question for Art and the crew there. How can as families, we did a family values worksheet exercise not too long after Kyle got there. But what else can we do as families to create an environment where we're open to these honest laughing or crying conversations, and with our the whole family, the addict, mom, dad, brothers, sister-in-law? How can we make that happen rather than just sometimes just the yep, fine, good?
I had the same question.
I was just gonna say, it's when I know, like in my family, we didn't talk about anything growing up. That's why I was very naive to like drug use and whatnot. But one day I just went home and my mom and dad were sitting there talking about it. They weren't even together at this point, but they were just sitting at the table talking about it. The next time I came home, my dad had come back over. They were sitting there talking about it. One day I came home and my brother and my mom were sitting there talking about it. And my brother is a very, very, very quiet person. And so I think honestly, the key to it is you just have to start talking about it. It doesn't matter how it happens or when it happens, but if somebody just starts to open it up, it's just going to feel so much more comfortable because sooner or later, everybody's going to join in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think there's any tactic to it. It's just, you just have to start talking about it.
When I talked here, Carrie, this week, what I told them is when you're doing something in your life and that maybe you feel like you haven't lived an honest life, or you haven't been honest with your family, or you haven't been honest with the people around you, or you haven't been honest with the group, and maybe you haven't been honest as a family, what I encouraged and I said, if you are doing what's called getting honest, then it should feel as if you're standing on the edge of a cliff about to jump off. And if the conversation does not feel like you're about to jump off a cliff and you don't know where you're going to land, then you're not getting honest. You're doing something else. But when you haven't been honest for a while and you decide that you're going to get honest with people, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when it's like having a conversation where you don't know where you're going to land. You're going to get honest and you don't know how it's going to end up. You don't know whose feelings it's going to hurt. You don't know what's going to be the backlash of it. You don't know if you're going to lose your job, get your job, lose your girlfriend, get a girlfriend. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if people are going to be mad at you. And I've had tons of those conversations in recovery. And they're scary. But they always heal. You don't know where you're going to land, but you always land. And I think as a family, encouraging, getting the back behind people's backs, the hands behind people's backs, and pushing them in the center and saying, you're going to get honest. You told me something about your brother, and have you told him? You've said this about him for a long time. Now you tell him to his face, or you say that, you push each other to that center and you fight it out. I told him here when I got home, they had a group, and I said, you guys keep telling me the groups were good. I said, was there any fist fights? And they said, no, there was no fist fights. I said, then the groups weren't good. Because really, somebody should be mad. Somebody should cry. Somebody should stomp out if truth is being told. And then you fight it out after. It don't have to be that way. It just is. So I would encourage those kind of conversations. Yeah. We've had a lot of fist fights here in this house. Well, not a lot, but couple and then a lot close.
I'll fist fight bundle.
Yeah. But I can also Carrie, I can also say that Bundle is a prime example of someone who has sought out proper validation through our program and has learned that from his family. And somebody that grew up and him and his brother knew how to be validated. They knew what got them the reward from their parents. And it was doing the right thing. And doing the right thing, you can tell, was a thing in your family. And you can see it, and you know that he is here. And part of you, if you watch Bundle operate and you watch his mind work, what it's trying to figure out, his mind is trying to figure out the right thing to do in every situation, because he's trying to do the right thing. He's not trying to look cool. He's not trying to brag about himself. He's not trying to do anything. He's trying to do the right thing. So it's already there. That you can tell it was from good leadership, strong moral, strong values as a family. Some people aren't blessed with that. They don't come from that. They come from survival. Some people here come from survival, which means everybody try to get a little piece of the meal and see if you can get a corner, some little attention from an abusive father, an abusive mother, or somebody that wasn't paying attention. We see that too. Thank you, Carrie.
Carrie, is that a camo sweatshirt?
It is.
That is so, I love it. Kristen, wouldn't this be really awesome in Battlefield with the Battlefield logo, something like that? Oh my gosh, that would be so sharp. Let's look into that. I think all us ladies need that in Battlefield.
It's Under Armour.
Super cute.
Cold golf course today. It was needed.
I gotta have one of those. I gotta find one. All right. Thanks, Carrie. All right.
See, I like that. Golf. That's a good analogy. Golf. How do you get validated golf? Well, you beat your own score. And it's cool because everyone can play and it's kind of known. Well, that's how you do good at golf. You beat your own handicap. You beat your own score. Nice. And everybody knows that's the way to,
Well, 6 beers deep.
Yeah. Unless you're drunk. Yeah.
I love, let me, before I introduce Renee, I love that people are using the chat. Stacy Hurlow says, there's nothing more scary than uncertainty. So that was a comment she had. Hi, Renee.
Hi, everyone. Hey, Art, I like your message today. That's like a home run for me because if you ask Nico, I've told him his whole life, like it's like the accountability factor. I've always told him from when he was a little kid, I'm like, is your homework, are you proud of the homework that you've just completed? Because if you're not, I wouldn't put my name on it. Like from the very beginning, it's always been like, you got to put forth your, whatever it is. If you're going to put your name attached to something, it should be something you should be proud of. So like accountability, that's the way I look at it. But my question to you is, I feel like, and I could be wrong, maybe Nico sees it in a different angle, but in our family, I feel like we've always been quite honest and kind of hold each other accountable to whatever, our word and stuff. And how you were talking when you first started your talk about surface conversations that was going on at the house. I think those are like, they're not deep and they're easy because they're kind of like BS. They're not like real things, We all do it. I do it too. So I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is when you start digging deep and you start talking about something that's really important, it's hard. It's uncomfortable. I mean, I grew up in a household where, like my mom had a hard time saying that she loved us. I knew she loved me, but she just couldn't say it. She couldn't hug us. And so I can see how families have a hard time saying the little things that matter. And all we tend to do is focus on when they screw up, we're going to yell at them. Or we do the fake, like we overpraise them for stupid shit, I don't know. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? But instead of just saying like what you said, it's like It's like, dude, I asked you to clean the bathroom. You cleaned the bathroom. I'm so proud of you. Like, I didn't have to say it 10 times. You just did it. Or you saw that there were dishes in the sink and you cleaned them up. Awesome job, you know. But I'm probably guilty. I didn't do that all the time, maybe, you know. So I should have. I maybe sometimes, but maybe not enough. So
Yeah,
that's a good point.
But I think part of the issue that we're running into is it doesn't matter. Like the family's opinion of what is important matters to the point where they finally arrive at the school and now they got to survive. And now as somebody arrives at that high school, no matter how deep ingrained their family values are, this is the next step. And then peer validation becomes important. And they can't run, I cleaned the bathroom very well last night. They can't run that to get validated. And so it takes a village, right? I mean, it takes a community understanding that when this kid comes to school and when their classmates and each family and on and on and on, where we're coming and we've agreed as a culture of what is important. Because if you haven't agreed as a culture, then every different culture that you go into, you're going to have to behave differently, because what's going to get you paid at high school isn't going to get you paid at the party on Friday night, isn't going to get you paid at home. And this is the beginning of how a human being becomes 10 different people and has to become a chameleon to be important. So you go to band practice and you're one way. You go to the school extracurricular activity study group and you're validated one way. You go to the party, you're validated one way. You go home, you're validated another way. And there's 100 different ways. You go to science class, you're validated that way. And then and on and on and on. And this leads to the lack of integrity that we are as people, because we have to become a chameleon. We have to fit in and be important in all these different settings.
Right. And I mean, that is true. And it's a good thing to have, to be able to adapt to different, you know, but I think like what Pam was saying about, you know, the brand name thing, I could agree with her, because I've always thought like, okay, so all the neighbors are getting new cars and all the neighbors are wearing Nike or whatever. I've always told my kids, it's like that shit doesn't even matter. I mean, they could be in debt for whatever and fighting over bills, or they could be mean to one another, or, you know, I mean, it just doesn't mean anything. Like, but it's hard. Like you said, we're in a society that those things are important. Or
it don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing until you come walking into a group of mean kids or a group of popular kids and your swoosh is going the wrong direction. And when your swoosh is going and they start teasing your ass, it'll mean something.
No, I do agree. I do see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, but sometimes it's like the surface work. It's easy to be on the surface, but it's really hard to dig deep and realize that what's right, like the integrity of who you are and your word. You know, I promise to show up at 8 a.m. I'm going to be there at 8 a.m. I mean, that's harder to be, like, it's like swimming uphill, you know, or, you know, against the current. So I can respect that. And I see what you're saying, how, you know, like if the switch is the wrong way, I totally see that. I do have one question for you, though, because in our own family, I mean, I don't know, we've had talks with Nico, and sorry, Nico, you're out there, but, you know, he does surface shit with us. Like we ask him hard questions, and it's not to be mean or to be, we want to understand who he is. And he doesn't say, and I'm wondering if it's like he doesn't want to say, or, I mean, I'm not just talking about him, but, you know, or if it's, I'm not just talking about him, but I'm just saying, for example, is it sometimes people are not in a place that they're ready to say and acknowledge things, or is it that they're not even aware that that's where they're at, or like, I'm not sure where to go on this, you know?
That would have to be Nico answering that.
Sorry, I was doing something on the computer. I was looking up a picture of fake Nikes. I couldn't get it.
Sometimes I look at these kids and no, they're just actually, that's just how deep it is right now.
Got it.
Sometimes you don't know.
I don't really think very deep.
I was trying to really not that thing.
Nico, you're the
Is this
deepest
this
thinker around.
conversation. Like, is it the same as like instead of getting into like a real conversation to like either be validated for or like made fun of, like, is that surface conversation kind of like wearing the Nikes instead of just like putting on the fucking no-name shoes and having a real conversation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, to me, what I see is in adult life, it really doesn't matter your status with your brands and stuff. And I would assume that the people who were those people playing the tuba, getting straight A's and stuff that got made fun of, not having the name brand stuff, when they actually got successful in life, that was their key in their mind is, oh, I'm going to get the brandage. I'm rich now. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I can imagine it be kind of falling into that.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. All right, Eccles, can we get you unmuted? There we go. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
I just got a thought. I don't know if I can articulate it really well, but it just seems like any attention is validation nowadays. People can do something really crazy, and by giving that attention, they are validated. Or somebody can do something really cool, and they are validated just by giving that attention. It's kind of like a toddler. They'll grab your face and turn you to, pay attention to me. And if you're busy or doing something, that same kid that's doing something really cool will end up breaking something just to get your attention. And I kind of feel like this thing is all bleeding over into attention. You can see it on the media. You mentioned, the things that are happening in the political realm, but it just seems like attention gives too much validation to a lot of stuff right now.
That's
just
right.
an idea.
That's right. I mean, I don't think that, I think a lot of men in America in the 50s and 40s and 50s and 60s, they just wanted to buy a house, have their little piece of land. They didn't care about attention. They cared about, that was it. They wanted to be there for their family. They want to be known as a provider. They wanted to be strong. They wanted to secure people around them. And I think it was a great system. I think it led to great people. And I don't think that, people, we just kind of, like I said, it's massive. When I started thinking of the work it would change to systematically change what's going on, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to say, hey, look at all attention isn't good. You don't need to have attention. You do the right thing today.
Yeah.
I mean, please. Yeah.
Jerry Pennington just added in the chat, social media is an attention issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's sad. I don't usually say that. I don't say that things happen, but this one, because it's so directional and it's so systematic, and it's for me, it was such an observation that entitlement led to not caring about the work it takes to get your peers to validate you. So people always say, what does entitlement do? Well, what is the problem with entitlement? Well, the problem with entitlement is that you don't have to work for it. And what is the work? The work is getting people's respect. The work is getting the people around you to look at not what you do, but how you do it. To look at how you do. It doesn't matter if it's not that you're sweeping the floor. It's how you sweep the floor that we should be looking at. It's not that you clean the kitchen. It's how you clean the kitchen. It's not that you live in a small bedroom with a roommate. It's how you live in a small bedroom with a roommate. It's not that you have a car. It's how you take care of the car that matters. It's not the kind of car. It's how you take care of it. And we don't, that's the changes that need to happen.
When you're entitled, you treat people
like objects. That's right.
They are not only objects, they are obstacles.
That's right. And you're just trying to get over them. Yeah. And trying to seek the attention of people above. I told the kids here, I said, what would be worse? I said, if all the parents on Solution Group loved me and validated, but every kid here didn't like me, well, then what kind of life would I be living? I said, my job is to seek the validation of the people that are under, and I wouldn't say under, but that's just a term, but under my care. I seek the validation downward, not up. I seek your approval. Every day I work to seek your approval. And I have to say that that's okay. I want these kids to approve of me. I want them to like me. I want them to think that I'm fundamentally good. I want that, and I seek down. And now, in order to do, and hopefully the result of that is the parents can see that these kids, I have their respect, and that I treat their kids with respect. I don't treat you guys like drug addicts. I treat you guys like senators that were once drug addicts. And that's hopefully I'm doing that. And hopefully I always do that. I don't do a great job always, but I'm sure that's what I try to do. So I know that I want to be validated, but I'm not trying to be validated by society or treatment or somebody out in the community or a mayor or Oprah Winfrey or Dr. Phil or any of those jokers. I'm trying to be validated by you guys. And I can say I want to be validated, and I can say I want to be validated by you guys, and I can say I want to be validated as a good person that keeps my word and does what I say. Mm-hmm. And that is a great system.
Beautiful.
Yes.
You're indirectly doing that as an example.
Yes. And hopefully it's an example. And then I say, nobody here should give a shit what I think. None of the clients here should give a shit what I think. You should not give a shit what I think. You should give a shit what your roommate thinks. You should give a shit what your housemates think. By that, by proxy, ultimately, I will think highly of you because they will be your PR agents. They will tell me how good you're doing. I don't ask you guys personally how you're doing, and I don't look at how you're doing. I ask your roommates how you're doing. They'll tell me the truth. Sherry, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is important about the way you connect with people there in the basement and at Military House is that you earn their trust, right? That's like, I think that one of the first things that you try and do is build a relationship of trust with your people there. And I think that's one of those pieces, like, you know, in my company, we focus on leadership principles. So we have leadership principles we operate around. And one of those is earn trust. And that's one of the things I think is really strong within the community that you've created there is that trust and that, you know, that they can trust you. You're also going to tell them when they're full of shit, but you're also going to appreciate the good things. And there's a trust relationship there. And so I guess my question there is for the people there in the basement, you know, when you think about what you value or what leadership principles or whatever it is that you find value in individually, is it something where you do it is it more of a family thing, or is it more of an individual thing of, I need to figure out what I value?
I would say consistency. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You know, coming into recovery in a place where nothing is consistent, and then having a person like yourself, you're always consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you have to go out of your way to earn anyone's trust. I think all you have to do is just be consistent because people watch, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think I where you say, okay, so what is it that we're trusting Art to do? Okay, well, we're trusting Art to invite change into people. That's what it is. We trust, you know, what he's telling us and how he's saying it to us and to call us out when we're messing up and the way that happens is, and I think maybe the only way that happens is through 100% compassion. That's where it comes from. It comes from, because if you're not, this is, you know, exactly what I was talking about, you know, last week, and being able to invite people to change, it has to come with place, seeing people as people, and that's where the trust comes from. It comes from Art being at the place where he totally intimately understands each and every person and what they're going through. Mm. I mean, I struggle with that. I have a hard time finding compassion with some clients because I'm not able to put myself in their position. I don't want to put myself in position. Sometimes I just want to be a dick to them.
Yeah. Well, and another point of that is I think that it's important to see that if everyone's life changes here, it doesn't change my life.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Part of the mistrust comes in when a person gets the sense that the person that's asking them to change will be a better person if they change. You see what I'm saying? And somehow when you're asking somebody else to change, if they believe that it's going to benefit you more than it's going to benefit them, they know you're up to something. And I think it's pretty clear with everyone here that if they don't change this year, I'm going to be sitting here just fine next summer. And that they would that if they change or not, it's not going to affect my life anyway. And I can't say that's always been the case, because when I was coming up in this business, I needed my clients to change to prove something about me. And sometimes when we're early on in this thing, we get really hyped up about people changing, and we get really disappointed when they don't, because it makes us look bad. And we're worried how we reflect to other people. And somehow I've gotten to a place where I don't care, not that I don't care, but I don't value what you all think of me, because you're not here with me as much as I would value what they think of me. And so, what you guys all have to say, you would be misled no matter what, you wouldn't even know. So and that's for parents too. Sometimes a kid gets a sense with their parents that them changing has more to do with their parents' happiness than it is theirs.
Right.
And that becomes an issue, because the person begins to resent you because you want them to change for your happiness.
Right.
Somehow make you look good by me changing. And that forms a resentment. But if these kids learn to make their bed when they're here, nobody's going to call me their hero. They're just going to have a nice made bed, and so, it's important for them. But that took a lot of work to get to that place where it didn't affect me. So people say, a counselor says to a client, I'm so disappointed in you for getting high. That's crazy. Yeah. That's like saying you're really messing up my track record, Yeah. And that's the mistrust right there. It can mean nothing about me if you get high. It can mean nothing about me if you screw up. It doesn't mean anything about me. Or if you succeed. Mm-hmm. We'll just give each other a high five later on in life.
That's so good. And heads up, we are over. So when you're ready to close your closing thoughts, go for it.
Okay. I just want everyone, this is like a plea almost. And it is a thing of like, really, today it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, wow. To change as a society or to change as a community, we'd have to change what the payday is. People are always out to get paid, and validation is how we get paid. We don't get paid through money. Money just gets us validated. Yeah. We get paid through validation. And if we're going to talk about the pay, well, then we got to talk about how we're going to pay each other. And if we're going to have payoffs, because the payoffs are why, as human beings, we do what we do. And right now, nobody knows and nobody's agreeing upon the proper payoffs. So we're not agreeing as a society or as a group on what gets us paid. So in order for us to form a group that helps each other, we have to agree on what gets each other paid and how we do that, and come to an understanding of values and what gives a person value. And that's a lot of work. And it's not just lip service, and it's not just talking about it. It's figuring out how we do it. And then I saw it in the community, and I saw, wow, what trouble we're in, because people in America, has become, they say we have a collective consciousness. And the consciousness right now in America is the identity of a victim or the identity of a hero. And every hero needs a victim, and every hero needs the arch enemy. And so now we have this drama triangle developed in our country, and we're living it out. The unconscious Americans living out the drama triangle need to wake up to themselves. They need to see what they're up to. Why do you want to save the homeless? Why do you want to stick up? Why do you want to be a bigger victim than someone else? Why do you argue about who the bigger victim is? Why are we doing all this stuff? And I hope you guys see it there so that you can see it play out in your own life, and we can do something about it. And we can kind of get together and we can go, what kind of people do we want to be here? What do we want to be up to? How do we impress each other? What impresses you about me? And how do I impress you? And then we say it. Well, just be there for me, man. Just do what you say. Just have my back. If you have something to say about me, come say it. Don't talk shit. Come bring it to me. All the things that we could come up with. So I hope it helped. We're going to continue to be in the science lab here, or the laboratory, and see what else we can come up with for next week. And we'll get Kyle as a Kyle takeover coming up in the next couple of weeks and get him back in the seat. And again, thank you guys for coming. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night.